All right, so last example. So here, number 13. So this is written a different way, right? But we're still dividing. And so whenever you have a binomial there, you want to do long division. You're going to do polynomial long division, okay? And so, I'm going to set this up just like we did before. So I'm going to say, okay, 2p minus 3. And then I'm going to put, that's my divisor. So I'm going to put that on the left. Then I'm going to put the dividend, or in this case, the numerator, on the inside, right? So now notice how we go from p to the fourth to p squared. So remember I told you make sure it goes in order and it's sequential. So if you're missing anything, you just put a placeholder there. So we're going to put a 0p to the third, right? Which 0p to the third is just 0. So it doesn't change the value of it. It just gives us a placeholder in that spot, and you'll kind of see why we need it here in a second. So then we have minus 17p squared plus 14p minus 3. Okay, so it goes 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, right? So that's perfect. So now we can start operating. So, so now I'm going to do this divided by this, right? So that's the first step. The first term divided by the first term, right? The first term in the divisor, or the dividend divided by the first term in the divisor. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. P to the fourth divided by p is p cubed. So I'm going to put 2p cubed up top here. And then remember what we're going to do next is we're going to take that 2p cubed and we're going to multiply it by 2p minus 3. Okay. And so then we get 4p to the fourth minus 6p cubed. So 4p to the fourth minus 6p cubed. So here's where you can see that we need that placeholder, right? So we can line up with like terms. All right, so now what's going to happen is we change our signs, right? So this will become negative and this will become positive. And so what's going to happen is these cancel out, as they should always. And then here when we add 0 plus 6, we get positive 6 p cubed. And then we bring down the next term, minus 17p squared. And now the process starts over again. So now I'm going to do 6p cubed divided by 2p. So remember, we kind of ignore what's here now. Now we're just focused on this. So we have 6p cubed divided by 2p. So that's going to be 3p squared, right? Keep my color coding, 3p squared. So I'll put that up here, positive 3p squared. And now we're going to do this times this, right? So 3p squared multiplied by 2p minus 3. And we get 6p cubed minus 9p squared. So I'll write that down here, 6p cubed minus 9p squared. Okay, we change the sign, so this becomes a negative, this becomes a positive. These cancel out like they should, so we end up with negative 17 plus 9, which is negative 8p squared, and then bring down the next term. So plus 14p, and now we go through the process again. So negative 8p squared divided by 2p. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. P squared divided by p is just p. Okay, so we get minus 4p up here. Then we're going to multiply negative 4p times (2p minus 3), right? This value, and so we get negative 8p squared plus 12p, right? So if I distribute here, that's what we get. So negative 8p squared plus 12p. Change the signs, right? Because we're subtracting. These cancel out, as they always do. We get 14p minus 12p, which is 2p. Okay, then we bring down that minus 3. All right, and look at this time. We have the exact same value, so I wonder what's going to happen there. So now we're going to do 2p divided by 2p, right? So 2p divided by 2p is just 1, right? So we're going to put a plus 1 here. And then we can multiply 1 by 2p minus 3. And we get 2p minus 3. So we're going to put that here. And we change the signs because we're subtracting. These cancel out. And it turns out that these also cancel out, right? So we end up with just 0. Right? And so we end up with remainder 0, right? You don't have to write that. Or you can put plus 0 over 2p minus 3, right? If we could put 0 over 2p minus 3. If we had another number here, we would, we'd make sure we included that. But in this case, we're not going to do that, okay? We're just going to leave it like this. Oops, left my division symbol out. Leave it like this. There we go. And this is our final answer here. All right, so that's how you do polynomial long division. That may be a review for you. It's one of those things where sometimes you see it in Algebra 1, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it seems like a lot of work, but just take it one step at a time, and each step isn't too bad, right? You just have to remember to keep using these next terms, right? You kind of ignore this after the first step, right? You just use this first one, and then you start using each first one and divide them by the first term in the divisor, right? And that's kind of where you go, and then just repeat this process over and over again. And you don't have to show this work, but I definitely want to see all this work, okay?